Yeah, this is going to be our first real test. It's actually probably, other than our ACC championships last year, our first test in really about 14, 13 months. Going into this weekend, going up to Chicago, we're going to be running against some of the best teams in the country, in Alabama, NC State, teams like that, which we haven't done previously. We didn't do that last year until the ACC championships. So it's up to us to come into that meet and make sure we understand the level of competition. When we went into the ACC championships last year, we got humbled. It was a tough meet for us, so when planning for this year, we wanted to make sure we had some exposure to those elite level teams before we go into those meets. So we will be splitting the team. We'll have a group there on Friday, and then Saturday we'll run here at the Live and Lou Classic, which is a great meet and a great meet for our kids that aren't able to compete in Loyola to be able to compete in.
Coach, what does it mean to have a meet here and talk about the Live and Lou and the way they've that it's kind of grown over the years and into a really big event?
That meet, Louisville Sports Tourism has done a great job promoting that event and getting that event to be one of the bigger ones in the country. Starts at 8 a.m. and goes all day. It gives our kids a chance to run against the level of competition that they're at. And for the city, obviously, we're coming off two major weekends with Bourbon and Beyond and Louder Than Life. This is a big economic impact with teams spending the night in the hotels and spending money in the city, and you couple that with what's going on with football. It's another big weekend for the city of Louisville.
And then what do you feel like you were talking about, since you began the season? I think you've had one meet, I believe.
Yeah, we've had one. Well, one.
Well, how do you feel like things are different than they were, last year? And obviously last year was a different year, being your first year and just kind of getting used to things.
I can give you two examples, very specific examples. The nice thing about our sport is very objective. We can see how people are running. We can see if they're running workouts at X pace versus the subjective. We know from an objective point of view whether we're making progress. The answer objectively is we are 100% making significant progress. So that's one example. We can look at what their tempo runs were this time last year versus what they were 2 weeks ago, and we can go back and look at heart rates from last year versus this year. So we can see objective data that we're running better. So from an objective standpoint, we're in a significantly different spot. How we translate that into racing is a different story. Then you can look at our team and how our team's grown and just become supportive of each other. I'm going to give you an example of what happened last Tuesday in a workout. We had a woman on our team that was struggling just a little bit in her session. And she was on her last rep. The team had kind of finished, and they were starting their cool down. And I had 3 women come up and said, "Hey, can we help her with her last rep?" That hasn't happened in the last 8 years of my coaching. To have women on the team or men on the team come in and jump in and help each other out on a non-directed way. Obviously it's happened when you say, "Hey, Sam, can you help Eric out on this last rep?" That's different. But for them to do it intuitively and help out shows that they genuinely care and genuinely want to help people get better. Gave me goosebumps to see that happen, and I called them over afterwards and said, "Hey, that's something I haven't seen," and that's including 2 national championship teams, and they were great friends. But that probably it may have happened, but this was a unique situation.
Kind of maybe answer a little bit of that. You've won national championships. How do you, when you're building a program, when you take this program over, what do you want to see most in year 2 between now and the postseason? What do you want to see to know that you're on that path to where you want to get down the road?
Turning the objective data that we see into racing acumen. That's what we need to see, because we know they're running well from an objective standpoint. Now, what can they do when they get on the cross-country course, the men and the women, to improve on that? and to have that competitive edge. If you and I are playing golf, I'm going to want to beat you. That's just who I am. If Jeff and I are playing tennis, I don't know if Jeff plays tennis at all, but I'm going to want to beat him. I don't play tennis, but I still think I can beat him. That's just how I'm built. So we need to be able to translate our objective training into that competitive aspect of it. And we're doing that. We're just super young.
This program's had a fair amount of success recently in field events, pole vault and shot put. Is there a track athlete who's ready to break through nationally?
I think we have a few. Brian Stevens, high jumper, has been super consistent his first 2 years, and has had at times some of the best jumps in the country. With Trey Allen departing, it's now Brian's time to shine. Sinclair Savage in the long jump, she's come back for her final year. Kaya Yeast is another one, a sprinter. And then obviously Jaden's here again. And if she evolves to the next level, that's a world championship finalist. In the vault, we have lots of great vaulters. We have new guy vaulters. So the team getting better and better and better. So to answer to your question, absolutely do we have people that are going to evolve to those elite levels. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to having experienced and being able to be part of what Jaden went through this summer. I want all of our students to have that opportunity. Is that realistic? Probably not, but you know what? There's going to be a few, and that opportunity is priceless.
You kind of touched upon building the culture within your image and what you've been seeing just early on so far this year. But after you spent like 16 years, I think it was, over in New Mexico, how long does that take at a place like this that is new, but also maybe has a little bit more resources to be able to establish that culture and that image?
Well, it starts with who you surround yourself with, one, and it starts at the top with Josh Hurd. And Josh Hurd is the best athletic director in the country. He's supportive of all sports, and then we want to support our team. So what we want to do is make sure that we get kids that want to be part of that culture, and have people like the group of women the other day that said, hey, I want to help our teammate out. Because it's a very selfish sport, going out on a 14-miler by yourself at Pope Lick. That's a very selfish, it's a very selfish act. But to have those kids that become selfless are the ones that are truly going to thrive in the future. So that's what we want our students to do, and also have that competitive drive. That's something that's changed significantly over the last 12 months.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys.